Hello and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. And I'm Cat Trans Gamer, and this episode I'm going to show you guys the first rocket into space so we can go and complete those two missions, launch your first vessel, and escape the atmosphere. There we go. And just so you guys know, I did complete the rest of the science that I said in the first episode. I went to the airfield and got the rest of the science, and I went ahead and got the survivability module. It gives me 6 parts, all survivability, my heat shield, service bays, which is real nice. This is going to come in real handy here soon. Landing struts and a couple extra parachutes. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and head over to our vehicle assembly building. And we will... Sorry, I was testing something there real quick. We'll go ahead and start building our spaceship. Now, in this one, I'm going to go ahead and I want to take and get scientific data in flight off of the SC 9001 Science Junior. Well, now let's see. I'm going to show you a nice little trick I like to use. I like to use these radial mounts, and I want to use 2 of them on the sides here. Now they look pretty bulky, as you can tell. They kind of stand out. They kind of cover up the crew hatch a little bit, but we're gonna go ahead and fix that. Now what I want to do is right here, the toggle snap, I want to switch that back to the circle mode, and then we're gonna come over here and I'm gonna make it line up a little bit better on the side of the craft. So I want to go to rotate, and we're just going to rotate this just a little tiny bit. Let's see how that looks. We'll go ahead and switch over to offset, and this gives us the ability to sink the objects into the craft. Kind of like that. Now that looks a little more aerodynamically sound, gives it a little more of an aero shield shape, which I like. So we'll go ahead and go with that. Oops, I did not mean to do that. Now I've got to redo all that all over again. No, I don't want the command module, I want this. Oh, we're on snap. I need to switch it back. Come on. Right about there. And we'll go ahead and sink them in. Not that far. Okay. If you're having problems with sinking stuff in, trying to line stuff up, sometimes zooming in or zooming out will give you a little more control on the thumbstick to do finer measurements. Kind of like that. Yep, that'll work. Now, we'll go ahead and put the marked parachute on the top. There we go. Zoom out. And there we go. That's the basic start of the craft. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put a heat shield on the bottom of this. Now, one thing you might not know about the heat shields, those of you that have played this and built a few rockets, but still learning, if you hit circle on the heat shield, you'll see this HS heat shield, jettison not staged. Well, if you hit that, if you notice, it adds a separation point right here. That's so after you've gone in through the atmosphere and everything, you can jettison the heat shield. Lighten your load just a little bit, give yourself just that much more slow down ability with the parachutes. Okay, and we do need to add a stack decoupler to the bottom of the heat shield. There we go. Now, fuel tanks. We're going to add some fuel tanks on here. Now, I want to add 4 of these fuel tanks because, these fuel tanks, they don't hold that much liquid fuel and oxidizer. So, if I hold L1 or R1 and hit X, I duplicate. It's a quick way to sit there and add multiples of stuff. So there we go, our swivel engine. That's our liquid fuel engine. The other ones are solid. And we will go ahead and go add another stack decoupler. And let's go ahead and come down a little bit. And then under this stack decoupler, we are going to add 4 of these boosters. And you're wondering, how am I going to add 4? Not like that. No. We're going to go ahead and add 3 on the sides. Switch that back to snap mode. There we go. And then we want to come over to our staging, make sure everything's staged up right. Zoom up. Look at our rocket, and then we've got our 3 parachutes at the top. Then we've got our heat shield, stack decoupler off the heat shield, our liquid engine, stack decoupler. Well, I want all 4 of these rockets to fire at the same time. So if we hold X down on that, we can move it, and now they're all going to fire at the same time. Okay, and I also want to do, let's go ahead and get this knocked out. I want to put 2 of these on here. Right there. Now that they're there, let's make sure we can still open this. Yep. One of them I'm going to use in flight. The other one I'm going to use once I'm in space. And I'll show you how to do that in flight. Okay. Now, we've got this done. Now, who do we want to take with us? Yeah, Jebediah's got a little bit of experience from the, the missions we did on the landing pad and the airstrip, so we'll go ahead and take Jebediah, give him more experience, see if we can level him up some. So we'll go ahead and title this, and this is our first official flight to space, so we are going to call this thing Space 1. And I like saving my ships because you never know, I might use this ship again, or some of this build again, so it gives me a quick way to access. And we'll go ahead and launch. Excuse me, I'm sorry about that. All right, now we're sitting here on the launch pad, and we could just go ahead and launch, but our command module is equipped with SAS. So we're going to want to turn on SAS. And you can do that by, let's see, reaction wheel, SAS only, pilot only, or normal. That's what we're going to be operating, is the reaction wheel. Well, to turn it on, you can hit triangle, come over to SAS, come over to toggle SAS, and you can turn it on that way. Or you can just hit circle, and as you can see, SAS turns on and off. Now, if you're hitting the button and it's not doing anything, and you've got the cursor, hit L3, get rid of the cursor, and then you'll be able to toggle it on and off. And that's the same thing with staging. If you're trying to stage your rocket and it's not dropping the engine or lighting the engines or whatever, check to see that your cursor is not there. It needs to be gone for everything to work right. So, and if you want to check the current missions that you're doing, bring out your mouse, come over here, contracts. It shows your active contracts, and it will even give you notes on how to achieve those set contracts. And 70,000 meters, that is 70,000 meters is the point that you actually leave the atmosphere. You are officially in space at 70,000 meters or 70 kilometers. So we will go ahead and leave that up so you guys can see it as how it achieves it and stuff. So let's go ahead and launch our vehicle. So by doing that, we just hit X, and there we are. We're off in the air. Now I'm going to try to slide this. I'm not going to try to slide this over. I'll wait till this engine's on. I'm going to slide this over to about 95 degrees to the, whoa, come on. There we go. Sorry, reaction wheel is not working right for me. I'm having a problem with my SAS. What's going on here? Sorry about that. I seem to have had a technical difficulty with SAS for a second there. So throttle back down, conserve that fuel. Okay. Oh, I just don't. I'm not carrying enough throttle for this. Okay, we'll stay there. Okay, well, we're in flight. I don't think this was a successful mission. Let's check. Go to map view, zoom in, and no, was not a successful flight. So I'm going to go ahead and revert this flight, revert back to launch, because I know this this rocket will get us to space. So let's go ahead and try one more time. So zoom in. Yep. We're going to turn on SAS. Let's give ourselves just a little bit more throttle this time. And we'll go ahead and launch. Let's not mess with the direction at all this time. We'll just head straight up into the air. And as you can see, as you finish contracts, they check off and turn green. So we're about halfway through our fuel. Lean over to about 95 degrees. Come on. The reason I want to get to about 95 degrees is it's going to put us in such an arc that we'll end up landing back near the station. So we'll land on land. We won't end up in the water. So there we are, disconnected from that. Okay, now I want to test one of these mystery goos here. So circle and observe the goo. While we're still in flight, we'll go ahead and keep the experiment. And we'll go ahead and do the science module too. Observe materials bay, 22.5, we'll keep that. And I'll wait for the other two, the other goo and the crew report until we're actually in space, which we're almost there. All we gotta do is 70 kilometers. There we are. Music starts playing, you know you're in space. So we'll go ahead and get our crew report. And we'll keep that data. And we'll observe this mystery goo. Because now this is actually observed in space. So there we go. And as you can tell, both our contracts have achieved. Now let's see how high did we get. We'll go ahead and zoom in here and look at our apoapse, which is the top of our flight up. It's 91,400 meters is where we're going to peak out before we start coming back down. And we're going to come back down on this bar here. But as you can tell, the Earth is rotating, so we're actually going to come back down on land. Because this is where we launched from, is right here. So, let's go ahead and head back to the UI module, back to our staging mode. And we'll go ahead and speed it up until we get to closer to 70,000 meters again. You speed up by holding L1 or R1 hitting circle, and you slow down by doing the L1 or R1 and hitting square. So we'll slow down. We're now back in the atmosphere, or entering the atmosphere. If you lose this, I think it's hold L1 and push square. Yeah, you got to kind of hold it down. L1 or R1 and hold down square for a long hold. And don't worry about the things that are open on re-entry. That's why we got our heat shield there, to deflect all the heat. Alright, we want to kind of keep the craft aimed at the retro orbit, which is this mark on the gimbal. And come on, slow down. Oh, no. Slow down. We gotta get that at under 300 meters per second so we can jettison the heat shield, launch the parachutes. There goes our heat shield dropping. Not bad. That was our heat shield hitting the ground. And as you can tell, got 3 parachutes going there. To really slow us down. As you can tell, we're moving 4.5 meters, 4.3 meters per second. Now we'll go ahead and speed this up, get us all the way to the ground. A little bit faster. And let's see if we could, okay. Can't see the space station from here. Slow it down. As you can tell, we landed all nice and safe. Everything's still intact. So we'll go ahead and recover this vessel and look at how much science we gathered. And we also made a little bit of money by completing those 2 missions. Look at that, plus 54.5 science, so we're now up to 80.5 science. We recovered quite a few parts, so we ended up with 4,165 back. And Jebediah did not gain any experience on that one. Bummer. But we're now over 232,000 Kerbin dollars. So, and if you go to your mission control, now look at all the available missions. Now here's a quick tip. Let's see if there's one here. Here it is. Test the solid booster at launch site. Well, how do you test stuff at launch sites? I'll go ahead and accept that mission and do that real quick. Go into the vehicle assembly building. We'll just go ahead and take this craft, delete it. All we need is a command module. And if you want to check your contracts, you can do it right here. We need to test the R10 Hammer solid rocket. So this one. And I don't want it to launch, so I'm going to take all the solid fuel out of it. There's no fuel in it. And we will actually go to the launch site. To test stuff, all you have to do is activate it through the sequence or by sequencing it. And since we got to test it at the launch site, as you can tell, everything's checked off green. So all we got to do is hit X. And there we go. It's completed. Contract's done. We recover the vessel. We didn't lose any money because we recovered all the parts. And we didn't spend any extra money on fuel because we took all the fuel out of the rocket. So that's tips on how to test things at the launch site, especially with fuel items. And we gained another science point right there and completed another mission. So I'm going to go ahead and figure out how to spend all this money or science. Oh yeah, by the way, let me zoom out here and show you guys the actual graph of science. As you can tell, there is a lot of stuff to learn. I mean, our first one cost us 10 or 5 science per item. But take a look at all the way down here at the end. 1,000 science to complete that. And yeah, you're going to be able to get that science. Don't let it, don't look at it and be like, oh, I'll never learn that. Yeah, you will. As you get better and better, you create more and more stuff, you'll eventually get yourself to a point where you got a space station in space, or you're landing rovers on, other objects flying around space, or going out and capturing an asteroid and bringing it into orbit and curve it. You get a lot of science for stuff like that. So, but I'm going to go ahead and figure out how to spend that stuff, figure out which ones I want to research, and I will see you guys in the 3rd episode. So, if you liked it, thumbs up. If you want to see more of this, please subscribe and drop a comment. Let me know what you think, or ask questions and I'll get back to you. Other than that, talk to you later. Bye!